Welcome to God's Vibes. I'm Juliana Page, and I teach the inner life behind lasting leadership. If you're ready to become a leader God can trust, you're in the right place. Every week, we'll strengthen your spiritual, mental, emotional, and leadership capacity so you can faithfully steward your calling, influence, and relationships. Let's get started. Welcome back to the God's Vibes podcast. We got a pop-up episode for you. This is sort of a unplanned but led to release episode. And this is designed to help you have some safeguards for your heart. I have the greatest and privilege and honor of walking very closely, intimately, and deeply with people through some of the biggest transitions, decisions, and seasons of their lives, quite literally, where everything is on the line, where the stakes are so high. And I never, not for one moment, take that for granted. It is so sacred. There's so much weight to steward that well, and so much that can make that really complex and either be the most epic, wonderful thing ever or incredibly heartbreaking. So I see intimately, not just from being a human myself and walking through some things that I would not wish upon anybody because of the pain, the grief, what it can do to your soul. I've seen some really deeply, deeply discouraging things, betrayals that you never saw coming, disappointments, discouragements, and it does a work on your soul, and it requires a lot of work with the Lord to release offense, to assert boundaries or reposition access and boundaries, and continue to walk with purity and trust. It's very, very challenging to do, especially the more courageous you are, the more you're willing to lead with your heart open and allow potentially that to happen, right? Versus shutting down and becoming cold and apathetic and offended and resentful and all of that. It takes so much work to keep your heart pure. So when people just say, these things flippantly or lightly, they are missing what it actually requires. And I think that that is a huge disservice. Okay. But essentially what I want to help you see today is who should carry your confidence. Who should carry your confidence? This is essentially a leadership skill that I personally have not seen leaders talk about. And this is a way that you can protect your peace without closing your heart. Because guarding your heart doesn't mean guarding everybody else's, okay? And this does give you insight that not everyone can carry your confidence, and not everyone can carry the most deeply personal and intimate details of your life. Not everyone is fit for that. Not everyone is privy to how you actually steward that and value that and honor that and respect that. Not everybody even understands that that's an incredible gift and a privilege. And that can become incredibly problematic when left unattended. Okay? Now, here's what I want to preface this with, because what we don't do is we do not build skeptics, and we do not build people of judgment. Okay, we build really strong and courageous humans inside Courage Go. Actually, people that become leaders that God can trust, whether you're leading just one person, yourself, you're leading a relationship, a marriage, children, businesses, ministries, friendships, family dynamics, those all require leadership. Okay, and leadership requires capacity, and capacity that you don't currently have. It requires supernatural capacity. I promise you, if you've not read my book, Full Capacity, I encourage you to go get it. You can get it in paperback, Kindle, or audiobook. Just go search on Amazon, Full Capacity, Juliana Page. You'll thank me later. Okay? So here's what I want to preface this with. God never asked us to distrust people and to be super skeptical. Okay? But he did ask us to steward what he's entrusted to us. And that is not every human on the planet. Now, you can love and be kind, but that doesn't mean that you allow everybody into your innermost being and into the most sacred parts of your life and the most personal details of your life. And despite what social media demonstrates or what Hollywood presents, people don't just get that access. They are not entitled to it. However, if you offer it blindly or freely, they will expect it. they will expect it. And you created that. Okay. So one of the hardest lessons that I've learned in leadership is this: not everybody who loves you is equipped to steward your confidence. There's something that's really interesting. I have had quite I would call it like a career path, a purpose path, where I have been in the operations of really big businesses. I've been in the dynamics of private foundation, and privy to so many things that require deep, deep levels of trust and wisdom. I've been organizations that have been dysfunctional and had to work to get systems and operations to function, and care for the health of the people within those organizations. I have worked in organizations, outside of organizations. I've worked independently, without a boss, and I've had to submit to many bosses. Okay. And I will tell you that's different. Usually, if you're just an entrepreneur, for example, you might struggle with authority because you've never submitted to authority. And that's an important lesson that we get with the Lord. It is a huge lesson, right? Because it's partly how God makes you a really healthy authority, is teaching you how to submit to unhealthy authority, or giving you the greatest gift of having healthy authority, because now you actually have a really great model and no excuses. Right? So it can be really, really tricky, but I think something that's been really challenging in coaching people, I've been coaching people since 2008. And in coaching, one of the things that I love about it is it's so intimate. It is so purposeful. It is so intentional. It's divinely orchestrated. It is divinely timed. It is just very, very powerful. But what I've loved about that is it's one-on-one. It's just you and this client. And you fulfill the purpose of that agreement, of that assignment, and then you bless them and you release them on their way, right? And you could be working with multiple clients at the time and none of them know each other, and it's just super clean and super professional. Now, I will tell you, when I have moved into some of the things that I do today, where I am producing content so people can engage in different places on the internet, whether that's, websites, social media, YouTube, podcasts like this, posts, whatever it happens to be, and fill in gaps. I have Courage Co., which is an entire ecosystem of courses and programs, right? Where so many beautiful, beautiful relationships and transformations are happening daily. And people are connecting to beautiful people and forming wonderful connections that they'll have for life, potentially, right? And that is such a beautiful gift and a privilege. And it takes a lot of health to create a culture of honor and to create and facilitate and make sure that that is what's happening inside Courage Go. It takes so much prayer and intention and covering to create a space like that. Not only that, I also work one-on-one with people still. Okay. And that is a large part of what I do through private intensives and different things behind the scenes. I collaborate with a lot of people. I go into places and train and I speak and I facilitate different learning, and I collaborate with different people across industries. Okay. And I will tell you, you have to know the language and the position of every single space to know how you can properly serve every single dynamic. Now, where this gets interesting as a leader is sometimes I've coached somebody who's in a program who then forms a relationship with somebody else that I've coached who's also in a program. And so there's been longevity that they share in common that they've individually had with me through different experiences. So I am the common denominator, but I am not privy to all of the relationship and ongoing connection that happens outside of my dynamic or my assignment with the individuals. Hopefully this is making sense. Where this gets confusing is a lot of that, if it is done from immaturity can create harm, and that can get back to me and be very hurtful. So I've seen a lot of betrayals and a lot of hurts, a lot of triangulation, a lot of division and strife, which the enemy will love to stir up anytime there's other humans involved. I can see people that I have poured my heart and soul into, like prayers, intercession, finances, intellectual property, like my entire life's work, sometimes time that I didn't even have because I knew it was a significant moment, right? I've seen that happen. And then overnight, act like years of sacrifice like that meant nothing. And this person never credited it, never honored it, and just acted like they got there all by themselves when I know and they know that I was a pivotal pillar in that season. And I will tell you, that can be so hurtful as a leader. But here's where this matters. You don't do things for people to credit you. You don't do things for you. You do them as obedience to the Lord. You do them to fulfill the assignments that God has for you. However, when you do start to see patterns of dynamics, it does require you to operate differently. So for example, if you've never studied parasocial relationships, there's dynamics that happen there that maybe you don't cause, but once you are aware of them, you are now responsible for them. There are dynamics now that being a leader of a company, of an organization, also having these other roles within that, whether that be a mentor, whether that be a personal coach, whether that be somebody's leader, whether that be other dynamics, right? At the end of the day, when you are building and strengthening responsible to this person and this person and this person, you're very intentional about keeping all those lines clean. Still, that person gets healthy and goes on and does whatever they want to, because you are not here to control or manipulate any of that, and none of that is your business. However, because you are in common, that can become problematic because people that are not healthy can twist things and misinterpret things, right? And that can become really, really hard. And at the end of the day, your community is not the community you build. Does that make sense? Like, the community that you're building is not necessarily the community that you can share the deepest parts of your life with. You have to have separate community and separate counsel for that, because if you get that confused, you will blur lines and you will end up not serving the very people that you're called to serve. And that can be incredibly hard, because at the end of the day, you are pouring out relentlessly. You are building nonstop. And a lot of people are so comfortable with receiving that they have no idea what that costs you. And I'm sharing this because I do think that this is relatable to leaders. Okay, this is relatable to parents, this is relatable to friends, this is relatable to so many people, and most people do not invite you in this way. Okay, but when you give on that level and then the whole organization is still dependent on you, it can feel incredibly lonely. And leadership is not lonely in and of itself, but it is lonely when betrayals happen. It is lonely when dishonor happens. It is lonely when disrespect happens, when secrecy happens, when division takes root, when triangulation happens, when these different dynamics happen, when these parasocial relationships form, all of those things combined, right? And you have to still stand firm in the Lord, and you have to keep your heart pure, and you have to renew your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And you have to process a level of emotion that you didn't even think your heart could contain. That is where leadership gets lonely, because you know that you can't lead the same way anymore, and you can't even give the access that you would genuinely like to, because you start to see what other people's character cannot contain. And where they presented that they were healthy and they expose that they're not healthy, that is not a character assassination. That's a character assessment that you now have to make new boundaries with and adjust access with. And it can be incredibly hard, because when you are so intentional about loving people well, you are the person that usually gets trampled in the process. Right? Because the very people that don't know how to love you will envy you, will be jealous of you, will try to steal from you, will try to bully you, will try to go behind your back and take advantage of what you've given them access to without your knowing. It can be so devastating. So what I am giving you today, I promise you, is gold. It is absolute gold. And it's chastening for you as a leader. It is imperative that you know who you are in God, in your identity. It is also imperative that you know the purpose and the mission for the relationships that you are connected to. Who are you to these people that are in your life, and what can they receive from you, and how do they view you? Because that will absolutely shift what a relationship can actually do, what it's prepared for, and if it can grow in health or if it will actually move out of function and create more dysfunction for you. Okay, now I want to keep this clear. Relationships are designed by God to be life-giving, to be honorable, to be respectful, to be elevating, to be enhancing, to be beautiful, to be supernatural in that way. And when you can recognize that, you can so appreciate it and treasure it. However, when you don't view it that way, you can very easily get confused. You can get things out of context. You can make up stories. You can fill in gaps. You can attack the very person that was designed to be a gift to you and love you. You can sow discord. You can even sever close friendships and close dynamics. And God has called us to unity. Let us love one another and spur each other on to love and good works. Can you sit down and actually assess what you're doing and call it good? Are you producing honor? Are you producing respect? Are you producing trust? And if you haven't even asked that question, it might be time to, if you truly value people the way you say you do. Does it require work? Yes, which is why your average person will not do this and why they don't have the depth of relationship, but you are worthy and deserving of depth. You are worthy and deserving of great, rich support that you can't even comprehend right now. You are worthy of covering that knows how to pray for you, not prey on you. Covering that knows how to protect you, not put you straight in danger. Covering that knows how to cover an offense, not spread gossip and lies. And you've got to know the difference, because stewardship is everything when it comes to relationships. So with that intro, I hope that's ministering to somebody. One of the hardest lessons about leadership is that not everybody who loves you is equipped to steward your confidence. You can love somebody and still not have the character. You can love somebody and still not have the maturity. You can love somebody and still not know how to honor and respect them. Think about that for you. Have you experienced that to be true? You can love somebody and you can discern that they are not mature, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in their character. You can love somebody and you can see that they have good intentions, yet when opportunities present themselves, they choose to keep disrespecting you, and that's a pattern now. That is a pattern now. So there is grace for mistakes and missteps, but you gotta shift when you keep seeing a pattern, because now this is what somebody is committing to doing, and you don't want to frustrate the grace, okay? So when I say not everybody who loves you is equipped to steward your confidence, that does not make them evil. That does not license you to be suspicious and judgmental. But this is good, healthy wisdom to get this, okay? Because if you miss it, you're going to miss what that relationship is about. So it doesn't make them evil. It doesn't even necessarily make them unhealthy. It simply means that every relationship has a different capacity. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally. People have they're in different times, they're in different seasons, they have different maturity, they have different health in different areas. They're walking through different challenges and adversities. They're able to do some things in this season that they're not able to do in this season, and expecting them to continue to show up the same way in every season just is not fair. They actually might need support, and you're asking them to give you levels of support that they don't even have themselves. They literally are an empty tank and have nothing to give you, and you're punishing them for that instead of talking to them directly about that and getting out of your own way so that you can actually support them. Because sometimes the very people that loved you and nurtured you back to life, you're going to be given the gift to do that to them. The people that stayed up, that cried themselves to sleep, that prayed and interceded for you, you will be tested and have an opportunity to do that for them too. Will you take it? So, if every relationship has a different capacity, it is wisdom and discernment to assess that in every season and keep revisiting it. You're not going to hold somebody to one version of who they've been. You're not going to hold somebody to always giving the way they've always given to you. They literally cannot do that, right? So one of the greatest acts of wisdom and love and high service is recognizing that before unnecessary pain teaches you and reconditions you to harden your heart, to become distrusting, to become bitter, angry, resentful, and start distancing yourself from people that God wants you genuinely connected to. Okay, here are 3 biblical safeguards. I encourage you to write these guys down, okay? Number 1, Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart. Guard your heart. Guarding your heart isn't building walls, it is stewarding access. If you see somebody moving in secrecy around you deliberately on purpose multiple times, you might be able to see that and discern that, but you don't have something tangible to confront or to address necessarily. But how they are moving is telling you everything that you need to know. They do not respect you and they do not honor you, because if they did, they would come to you directly. They would not go behind your back. They would not act in a funny way and hope you don't find out. That's bizarre. And they know it's bizarre. Like adults, grown humans know what they're doing. You don't need to treat them like children, right? So, guarding your heart lets you know that when you see somebody showing up this way, that shows you either a conversation that you need to have, a courageous conversation, a boundary that you need to establish, okay? Also, maybe access that you need to address because you have done those things. The minute somebody did this thing, you addressed it, right? You saw something similar again and you set a firmer boundary. You clarified. Maybe they didn't get it the first time, so you clarified the next time. You didn't deny it. You didn't let it go. You didn't overlook it. You didn't pretend you didn't see it. You didn't start acting passive aggressive. You addressed it. Now, when that continues, you change the access. You don't become a pushover. You don't let people think that that's okay and reward that kind of behavior. You make it clear, because clarity is love, okay? And you have to steward that access, right? And when people show that they are trustworthy, you can invite them deeper. You can partner closer and more intimately. You can walk in deeper connection. You might even be able to build and co-create and collaborate on some really epic things. But if somebody is showing you that they can't handle that on the smallest level, they will not be able to handle that on a greater level. 2, observe fruit before extending trust. Lord have mercy. Hear that. Observe the fruit before extending trust. People are so moved by images, by appearances, by money, by flashy things, by the presentation of things, that they don't actually examine fruit, because that's not fruit. Okay? Matthew 7:16. Jesus didn't just say, listen to intentions. It's not what he said. He said, you will know them by their fruits. What are they consistently producing? What are they consistently producing when it doesn't benefit them? If they need significance, if they need to be the center of attention, if they need constant validation, there's something unhealed that is driving that behavior, that is making that unsafe and an unhealthy dynamic and very unstable. And then what do you know about instability? A double-minded man or woman is unstable in all of their ways. All that's going to do, if you continue to nurture that dynamic, is create more lack of stability for you. And if you are here to be a stabilizer, allowing instability into your life will definitely destabilize you and get you distracted and get you swept up in fighting battles that you're not supposed to fight. And you've got to be so clear on what your mission is and what your assignment is, so that you don't pay what the devil's trying to stir up? Any mind. You give it no airtime. And if you're supposed to do something, God will tell you what that is, and you can do it. Getting swept up in chaos and confusion is one of the quickest ways to lose your capacity and to abort your mission. It is not something to master and get really good at it. Patterns matter. You have to pay attention. Just because you like the presentation of something, just because it sounds good, just because it seems like it would be fun to get connected, that does not mean that you are supposed to, that you are designed to, that it is the season to, or even if it would be healthy to do so. You've got to examine a little bit deeper. Check out the fruit first. Right? Think about it. If you were going to go to a doctor to undergo surgery, this person is going to cut into your body. Don't you think you would do some research first? You might get a few opinions before you go under a knife and let somebody cut into your body. That's the level of this. Before you let somebody actually cut into your heart, you need proper assessment. You need to vet it. It doesn't matter if it is a friendship, it is a partnership, if it's a business dynamic, if it is some sort of collaboration. God wants us to walk in wisdom to prevent unnecessary harm and pain because he knows what the kind of healing will be required that we don't even have to go through. There's so much pain that we do not have to endure, but we're not doing due diligence. We're not being wise and discerning, and it's time that we start being that so that we can actually have the rich, beautiful relationships that we desire. Number 3, Jesus modeled different levels of access, and mature people do this too. Okay? This is the part I think people miss. And sometimes you have to go through a season where God removes people from your life. Partners, people who you thought you were friends, and you have to feel what it's like to be alone, but not lonely, because you are with the Lord and you start to discover the Lord is all you need. That anyone who comes into your life, you're going to be able to quickly see, did God send this person or did the devil send this person? Because if God wants to up-level your whole life, he will send a person. And if the devil wants to destroy your life and take it down, he will send a person. And the people the devil sends operate the way the devil does. Charming, shiny, looks great, right? Great presentation, all the charisma, smiling in your face, fronting like the best of intentions are there. Check the motives, check the heart. The world is full of great actors. They're even trained to get better at that right now. If you cannot discern motives and discern spirits, you will be deceived. So Jesus loved everybody, but he didn't give everybody the same level of access to him. He didn't walk at the same level of closeness and intimacy with everybody. Not everybody got to see into the innermost struggles that he was facing. He didn't ask everybody to come and pray for him and stay up and pray for him. And when he did, those were precious invitations. Those were sacred, not random. The crowds, the 70, the 12, the 3, each within perfect love. There were different levels of intimacy. So love does not mean access. Love does not mean intimacy. Love does not mean obligation. This is a very radical revelation. This is not about favoritism. This is about stewardship. Healthy humans steward relationships individually, right? And then they know what the purpose of those relationships are. And when that gets blurred in any kind of way, they are quick to make the adjustments, quick to pray, quick to obey what God is saying. And when things are revealed, when hidden things come to light, they are grieved probably and hurt because they're human, but they don't let that hurt allow a root of offense to take root in their heart, or resentment, or anger, or unforgiveness, or bitterness. They pray for that person. They ask God to bless that person. And they continue to walk in love. So they mourn what was and what cannot be. They grieve what they thought they had. And they let that work through them with the Lord. their wonderful counselor, and then they trust God to bring healing, to bring restoration, and to bring what they are now ready for, because that did prime them and prepare them for greater depth, for greater intimacy, for a different need and relationship that God does have for that person. My aim here is to help you be very intentional with how you move. Not carelessly, but prayerfully. Maybe the question isn't, who can I trust? Maybe it's, what has this relationship demonstrated it's capable of carrying? I might love if it could be this, but you don't want to put your agenda on a relationship, because then you don't know what God is working on doing here, right? It might be nice because I have this gap or I have this need that I want filled. It might be nice for this thing to fill it, but then you got to be careful there too, because people aren't just supposed to fulfill your needs. If your needs aren't met in God first, that can deeply confuse and hurt relationships in your life. You can put unfair expectations on people. So the objective here is to love everyone, to honor everyone, to forgive freely, but steward wisely. If you have a big giant heart, keep that heart. If you are a generous person, keep being generous, but do it with wisdom, do it with discernment, and adapt as the Lord is telling you, quickly and obediently, because He sees what you do not see. He sees conversations that are happening that you are not a part of. He sees hidden motives of people's heart and how they really are positioned towards you. Not what they say to your face, but how they really are positioned to you. And when you know this, you don't operate from a place of distrust. You operate with gratitude for God's protection, for God's mercy, for God's clarity, for God's great love in general for all of His kids, right? And then you're able to move in the will of the Lord. You're not going to force things. You're not going to ignore things. You're going to operate with purity of heart. But you're not going to make the same mistakes. You're going to learn from them. You're going to see, oof, I get stung. I get burned when I trust too quickly. I get in trouble when I don't actually examine fruit and I rush into things and I try to force this thing to happen because it seems exciting. No, let that excitement wear off, then decide. Right? Don't let emotions dictate how you're going to form things, because you might be missing the divine orchestration of them. Right? If I feel like I'm doing something sneaky, you are. Cut it. Cut it. Stop. Don't move forward. If you don't want somebody doing it to you, don't do it. If you don't want this to be discovered, you're in the wrong and you know it's wrong. Do not keep going. It will get worse. If you truly love somebody and honor somebody and respect somebody, prove it. Demonstrate that in how you walk and how you communicate to them. If you've been a part, let's say, of a smear campaign, whether knowingly or unknowingly about somebody, if you truly love them, go clean that up. Go to them directly and reconcile, and go clean up everything that you sowed. Every single person that you stirred up lies or stories to, go clean it up. That's powerful. I've had some people, I was so impressed. Man, I was working on a project, an assignment. So I was evaluating new people that would be a great fit or the right partner for this. So prayerfully, I was asking God to guide me to the right people. And a person showed up from a place that I didn't expect and in a way I didn't expect. And I reached out to this person, and this person responded with so much class and with so much tact. I was genuinely so grateful. And I had to reply and let this person know. This person, not only did they give me feedback like, wow, thank you for answering these questions so thoroughly from all of this beautiful work that you're doing in the world. I don't have the capacity to take this on right now, but I know exactly who can. I want to introduce you to a peer. Her name is this. She owns this. She does this. She is absolutely amazing. And she starts bragging on how awesome this woman is and how I would be in the best hands ever and how she hopes that as capacity changes or something, our paths would connect in the future. And I thought, yes, yes. Like, why was that rocket science for some people where you should absolutely be honest about your position and what you have capacity for and what you do not, and then promote the heck out of a friend that you genuinely love and that you know is going to do an excellent job. And I found out through talking to her friend that they do this for one another. If this person doesn't have capacity, they recommend clients to one another. And it was so beautiful. They are not competing. They wouldn't even think about it. They are not actually in competition at all because they don't operate from lack and limitation. They're operating from abundance, from collaboration, from honor, from deep respect. And I just thought, wow, talk about just such an elevated experience. It was amazing because I don't see emails like that normally. It was enough to exhale. Okay? And I just think about this in daily life. Is this how much you love people? Can you celebrate them? Can you champion them? Can you refer them to people? Can you speak about them highly and how they've impacted your life? Are you quick to forget? Are you quick to gossip? Are you quick to tear down? Because what kind of friend are you? What kind of relationships do you want to build? Because they absolutely start with you. So my encouragement to you is to look at these principles. If you haven't listened to Jesus Time Out, I do recommend you that you go over there as well. I give you 5 questions to ask, like 5 questions that deeply change your relationship. So that's a really good time out with me to go through those questions more deeply. So you can re-listen to this and then go listen to that one as well and answer the questions with the Holy Spirit, because this will change how you see who God has entrusted to you. Who is in your life? There are people that God has in your life that are divinely orchestrated to be in your life, that are designed to be a gift, that are designed to bring life to you, wisdom, empowerment, strengthening, uplifting, encouragement, establishment, love, maturity, depth, sincerity, generosity. Can you see it? Can you appreciate it? Can you treasure it? Can you honor it? Can you bless them? Can you pray for them? Can you thank God for them? Can you refer other people to them? Can you help them? Can you champion them? Or is it one-sided? Now, there are other people in your life that you might be nurturing the wrong things and building capacity for the wrong things. Can you see that? Can you assess that? Can you be brave enough to have courageous conversations, to go to people directly, to establish the principles that you want? Don't build your life on emotion. Build it on principle, integrity, excellence, trust, honor, respect. Can you move in that consistently? Your life will radically change if you do that. So this is an invitation not to be suspicious of other people, but to ask the Lord, search me thoroughly, O God, and show me my heart. Expose if there is any wicked way within me and lead me in the way everlasting. This is Mind Your Business Ministries. Before you start acting funny, let God show you what is in the way of your deepest longings and your deepest desires and who He's actually sent in your life so that you can actually treat them the way He's designed you to. So that you can actually have these really powerful conversations and access just new depth and new experiences, encounters that you didn't even know God had stored up for you in this other person and you two connecting. There is absolutely ways that you can connect with so much honor, with so much love, with so much grace, and so much respect. But on the flip side, you can move in so much dishonor, so much distrust, so much disrespect, and call it good. That's not God. And it is on us to pioneer what it is that we want to see. It is on us to demonstrate the love that we say we walk in. If you want respect, you demonstrate it. If you want honor, you give it. If you want love, you sow seeds of it everywhere you go. But do it with wisdom. I really do hope that this encouraged you. This is like such a timely message, and it seems really sobering for leaders. Whenever you are leading, the lowest level of leadership is selfishness. It's making it about you. Leadership is not about you. And that will be the biggest problem if you make it about you. Every single little like relationship shift or outcome shift or development shift or worldly circumstance will shake you if you make it about you. It is not about you. You are called, you are assigned to a mission. You are anointed for a mission. And you got to be really clear what that is so you don't get off the mission and into petty, pitiful things. You need to be invested in powerful, transformational things. Anybody listening to this podcast is not a weak person. Do you have weaknesses? Yes, but you know how to give those to the Lord. You know how to humble yourself before Him so that He can lift you up and so you can walk worthy of the call. But you also count the cost. You also know how to die to yourself daily so that your flesh and your emotions don't take over. You also know how to forgive quickly and often so no root of offense takes root in you. You know how to initiate health. And you make every effort to create unity and peace, not strife and division. But will there be effort required? 100%. Will this be the hardest work that you ever do? 100%. But what do you think your Father in heaven is saying when you embrace this work? What do you actually want to get well done for? It's worthy of investing in that. So much time is wasted on things that are so beneath the call. You are meant to be an instrument in the hands of God. Are you letting Him use you in that way? That He might be glorified. Selah, Selah. We did something that was really powerful this past week on the 16th, Thursday the 16th. We dove into a live training together in Courage Co. on who can you trust. And this is about discernment, about biblical boundaries, and about how to create health in relationship. Okay? I made a cool diagram. I think it's cool. I love visuals, but I called it like the integrated tree. So you can really see your inner and your outer life. You will never have health in your outer life if you completely are oblivious to and abandon your inner life. It just will not work. And mental health is only a part of that. There's so many things that are in our root system that we are oblivious to. So this picture just gives you greater insights, and then we really unpacked a lot together that is gold that you can just access in there. So I do recommend that you do that. Next month too, we are curating an experience around if there hasn't been discernment, if there haven't been boundaries, if there hasn't been health, if there's been dysfunction for things operating out of their function and design, what do you do? So we're going to go through how to get disentangled from some of that and how to really steward maturity and steward health, because you're here to be a leader God can trust, right? So if you want to be a part of that, I will put the details below to join us inside Courage Co. This is where you get live mentorship every single month to develop. And we are going to be meeting live on the 30th at 7 p.m. This is our prophetic encouragement night. This is where you can just receive and fellowship and ask some questions, and it's a beautiful space. So you're invited to those things. They're in Courage Co. I do hope this blessed you. I do hope that this gives you some anchoring for how you look at how you are leading yourself, other people, and your life. Also those that God has brought into your life, whoever they are. Friends, peers, mentors, coaches, therapists, advisors, whoever it might be. Spouses, partners, doesn't matter. How are you stewarding those? And are you walking worthy of the love that you're called to? I invite you to prayerfully consider that. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for joining me for another episode of God's Vibes. If today's conversation encouraged you, be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to move beyond inspiration into transformation, I'd love to welcome you inside Courage Co., our spirit-led leadership formation community where leaders become the kind of people God can trust. Until next time, keep growing, keep stewarding what God's entrusted to you, and remember, your depth is your differentiator.